So I can definitely say with certainty that the best part of this episode, in my opinion, was the stuff with Juuzo's past. Finding out what happened to him in his past, fucked up as it may be, it makes clear sense why he's so fucked up in the head, being raised by ghouls, what this madam woman did to him. And in case the anime wasn't clear about it, because I know that there's going to be a few people that are like, well, what was going on? Juuzo, and spoiler alert, if you don't want to hear this, just skip over the next 5 seconds real quick. He had his testicles and his private parts removed by that woman. Yeah. So finding out his past, being raised by ghouls and everything, and then trying to adapt to humanity and, you know, how to live like a human in general was just crazy. And honestly, I totally get why Juuzo would be like that. And I think this episode was trying to display just that. Why is he so fucked up? Why he is the way he is? And I felt bad for him. And I think the best thing, and I've said this in manga reviews, I've said this all over the place, the best thing that Shinohara, in my opinion, brings to the table is what he represents to Juuzo, or for Juuzo. Because when he was like, hey, you know, I would feel sad if you died, it kind of made Juuzo think for a second, wait, why? What's death? Who cares? So what he offers to the table, for me personally, interest-wise, just everything, is that he's a good partner for Juuzo who lacks humanity and the capability for empathy. And I think that that's why I care for Shinohara in that regard. But other than that, it's like, Shinohara surviving and everything. And I kind of called it in my last review. I don't think he was eaten. I think Kaneki just ate the arata off of him. So kind of called it on that aspect. And I'm just like, Sui Ishida, why do you love Shinohara so much? I don't get it. Why? Like, he's alright, but I don't know. And yet again, this episode, which for the past 6 episodes, which we're kind of halfway through the season already, is hinting that Hide is going to have some sort of role in everything. Hide, you know, crashing into Amon and looking at the papers and everything. You can definitely see that he's up to something at the very least. And also, Hide, he's being built up for something. We don't know what yet, but he's definitely going to have a role, or a bigger role, later on down the road. And it's just like, personally, I'm not a Hide fan. I don't really care for Hide, but I totally get why, like, you know, the author is doing this, because he has some sort of role for him. It's just, as of right now, it doesn't seem clear what the hell he's going to do. I mean, at the end of the day, he's some delivery pizza boy, so what the fuck could he possibly do? But you can see that there's some sort of small setups being in play for Hide. A little bit more of Kaneki, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. Honestly, one of the things that Tokyo Ghoul Route A is missing is Kaneki being himself. And I'm not talking about being black-haired Kaneki, because no, I like white hair way more. But he's not talking. He's not being badass. He's just like a tortured soul in this season, honestly. It's like, right now, the Kakuja is, you know, taking control, and he can't control himself. He can't even sip coffee anymore. He's like, oh, I don't want to eat anymore. So you can definitely see that, like, he's being tortured, but at the same time, I think that's one of the things that this season is lacking, because one of the things I personally loved was getting the character development and characterization of Ken Kaneki through season 1, episodes 1 through 12, and the manga, the first 60-something chapters that cover that content. I think that that was one of the best things about Tokyo Ghoul. So when you take that out of the equation, and is more so leaning on the inspectors, it takes out one of the elements that I personally like, and I felt drove the story in a proper way, in a proper fashion, for that matter, because it's kind of like, every time we see Kaneki, he's just quiet, or he's screaming in agony, or he's dealing with something. And I think if it was a little bit more expressive vocally, you know, besides screaming, like actually talking or whatever, it would make things flow a little bit better. And yet again, Toka, with the minimal role that she has in the manga, she didn't have any of these spotlights. I'm not gonna lie, I feel the anime is keeping Toka in there for the sake of the Toka fans. I was a huge Toka fan for the first half of the manga, and for season 1 of the anime, that was probably my favorite character. But in this one, and again, these elements really weren't in the manga like that heavily, I feel as though that's just basically for the Toka fan service, because at the end of the day, the mangaka even didn't feel like her story was interesting enough to keep it going, because all you see her at the end of the day is she's in school suffering over Kaneki, she's riding a bike suffering over Kaneki, you know, she's drinking water suffering over him. So while I love Toka, she will still be one of my favorites, not my favorite anymore, because of her subplot being reduced to just kind of that. Ultimately, I still feel for her. I just feel as though we could have used that screen time for other things, or maybe more Kaneki, him talking, understanding what he feels right now, although technically he's in agony, so I don't know how much talking he would do, but you get what I mean. And then the Amon and Akira moment, I'm not gonna lie, Amon, I respect you, and you're a good man for what you did, because that Akira though, and just kind of getting more of their relationship and some character, I guess, characterization and kind of character development at the same time, finding out that Akira, I don't know if it was legit, maybe she was just gone out of her mind when she said it and she didn't really mean it, but when she was blaming Amon, like, you really killed my father, it was your fault, and Amon kind of agreed. We know that Amon, you know, he feels guilt. Amon is a good person at the end of the day. Same way that he wanted to help Kaneki is the same way he, you know, he feels bad about what happened to Mato. So I totally get him saying that Akira, I think she was fronting. I don't think she really feels that way. She just felt, you know, in the moments and you feel like shit, you're gonna say stupid things. And then her being drunk, I love drunk Akira. And honestly, again, I respect the shit out of Amon for not taking advantage and just doing push-ups or whatever. I think the manga hinted a little bit more at her kind of like throwing herself towards him. I think in the manga she was like getting undressed and kind of making advances towards him. In the anime they kind of cut it a little bit down, but either way, yeah, that was some funny stuff. I will say that the comedy with her being drunk was hilarious. And yeah, a big war approaches with the Dobes and the Owl, so some interesting stuff. Overall, this episode was a good episode for the most part. I think, again, the Juuzo stuff was the best elements, getting more of his backstory and kind of progressing things along slightly with everything that's been going on. I will say, the character that was introduced that's working at Anteku, that dropped the cup or whatever, stop dropping the cup. Studio Period. Stop having the last laugh, please. And yeah, good episode, 7.5 out of 10 for this one. Just, if only Kaneki talked more, I think we would flow better. If we got more from his perspective, it would flow better. That's what I honestly feel regarding this season and this episode as well. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode. What do you think about the whole Amon and Akira weird moment that they had? Did you feel as though like there's some romance brewing there? Also, do you think that the Juuzo part was the best part of the episode? And how do you feel about what happened to him? Poor fucking Juuzo. I still love the fuck out of that character, but yikes. And your overall thoughts of the episode, but that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, if you could do so as well, that'd be amazing. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. Poor Juuzo.